What's up, everyone? Welcome into the All 22 NFL Show, the official channel of the All 22 Fantasy Football platform. It's the only fantasy football game with full 53-man rosters, including offensive linemen, where you get to choose personnel packages and have access to PFF grading and advanced stats to make decisions each week. To learn more and sign up, go to all-22.com. Ray, it's been a couple weeks since we've been here. I am so excited to get back into this. We today are going to be doing a film review of the interior of the offensive line class of the 2026 NFL Draft. And Ray, as you always kind of let the people know, we are not doing a highlight tape. This is not a highlight tape. We are meant to show you trends. We want to show you the true colors of the players that we are showing you today. But before we jump into it, Ray, how are you doing?
Oh, yes, audience. I'm sorry. The audience is always waiting for that. I'm doing great. I know the audience is waiting. That's really why they tune in, just to see how I'm doing. And I'm doing great. So thank you all for your concerns about my well-being. I'm doing fantastic. Chris, how are you doing?
Dude, I feel like $1,000,000, man. Happy to be back here. Happy to be talking football again. The draft is only, a month away, right? This weekend, a month from this weekend. So I'm pumped. I'm very excited. And looks like we have Emmanuel Pregnon up here first. Is that right?
Yeah, so we're going to start off. So again, like you mentioned, this is not a highlight tape. This is trends that we identify when studying a player's film, and then we highlight a few plays to show to you to get a better idea of the player. We're going by the 5 plays in 5 minutes rule. I don't even have my phone on me, Chris, so I think I'm just going to be under the 5 minutes anyway, because that's just how I roll here.
Well, I am going to be keeping track of it, so don't you worry, buddy.
You said that last time. Did it work? So
I gave you grace last time.
Yeah.
But no. Before you do it, right, Emmanuel Pregnon, 6'5", 314 pounds, played guard at Oregon, 33 and 5/8 inch arms, 11-inch hands, played 53 career games between Wyoming, USC, and Oregon. He's a redshirt senior, 6'5", 318 pounds. I think I already said that. Had a 910 offensive snaps this past year with an 86.7 PFF grade, had 1 sack and 2 hurries. And right now I will hand it off to you, and the timer will begin in 3, 2, and 1.
All right. So Emmanuel Pregnon, left guard here for the Oregon Ducks. And
Pregnon. I like it.
Pregnon. Yeah. Now you're cutting into my time.
He's French.
I always like to kind of see how things start off. I mentioned this with quarterbacks, but this is the very first play of the game. And this is going to tell you who Emmanuel Pregnon is and basically what they're trying to accomplish here. So again, left guard, you see here, this is just a simple, just base block, and we're just going to move people. And this is what he does. So again, 75 left guard. Think about where we started here. We are at the 25-yard line. This is the first play of the game, touchback on the road. This is intentional. We're just going to run downhill, and we're going to move you 7 yards off the ball all the way to the 32. Would have been even further if the pileup hadn't happened there. And this is what he does. He just moves people. Again, 314 pounds, 33.5-inch arms, 11-inch hands. This is a power player. And this is a tone setter. This is a tone-setting play. You are letting the opponent know you are in for it today. You're in for a battle for 3.5 hours. I'm just going to lean on you, and you're in for a fight, and you're not going to like it. So that's Pregnon. This is what he gives an offense immediately at the next level. So again, very simple, just a power player. Now we're going to run into play 2. Again, number 75, the left guard here. He has a pretty good quick set here, but you notice doesn't really execute the pass off. And part of that is the depth that he gets in his drop here. So you have a late shift, late motion, but that's fine. Hardly gives up any ground, which is great. But right about here, you would think you'd pick up the twist here. Kind of doesn't, which leaves his left tackle a little bit out to dry here. I mean, it's fine. Quick pass, check down, or what have you. But this is a trend that we see with Pregnon here, is that he has this sort of short, quick step and pass pro a bit too often, and it leaves him susceptible to some of these games and twists that defenses run here to try to get to the quarterback here, as opposed to just trying to run straight through him, because, again, you're probably not going to have much luck running straight through him here. So that's a bit of a concern here in pass pro, or something to be worked on, let's say, is some more sort of variety in his pass sets here. And here's now third play here. I still think I'm ahead of schedule here. You see the one tech lined up to his inside here. Again, he's a left guard. And we're going to run this here. And bit of a concern I have here. Yes, the running back is just going to read the helmet placement here and cut back inside. But if you have the one tech lined up over your inside shoulder and you're going to run some wide zone, he should not be crossing your face and getting to your outside. That's what he wants to do. The defender wants to funnel this back inside to his help here. And if you have the alignment advantage, that just shouldn't happen. But sometimes he's just a bit slow off the line here, and it can kind of get him into some trouble on some of these wide zone plays here. Why don't you just take a look at the contrast here between the right guard, who also had the 3 tech lined up outside of him. And obviously, it's a difference between play side and backside here, but he doesn't let him get to his inside and get to the play side. He seals him up because he had that alignment advantage here. Pregnon does not. So you want to see him be a bit quicker on some of those outside or wide zone blocks there to not allow this sort of thing to happen and give the defender what he wants. So again, just the get off is a little bit different there. Now we're going to run to play 4, and we mentioned this guy's a power player. I mean, you see the frame here. He just stands out in general, even before the snap here. So left guard, we're going to go ahead.
1 minute warning.
1 minute warning. All right, fine. So quick pull here, and come on, let's get a kill shot here. I mean, there's no this. We should not have such a narrow base on contact here. This guy should be on his back here. Don't allow this defender to set the edge and just kind of use hands to get off of you and then go ahead and make the play on the ball carrier. That should not happen. His power is negated because he doesn't drive his feet and he stops on contact. So again, some of these nuances to clean up. 5th play, it's just sort of a reinforcement of a previous trend. Again, a little bit off balance, has that quick set, and because of that quick set, he doesn't have the ability to pass off his rusher when he goes to the outside and pick up the inside move from the edge player here and basically execute a good pass off with his tackle because of his quick set, and he just kind of lashes on to his defender. So again, that's happened twice in just the first half of this game here. Ends up on the ground, which we don't want to see. Bit of a balance issue there. Think I'm in the 5-minute marker, at least just about.
And time.
There. Beautiful. That's it.
Good job. Well done.
Pregnon.
Give us your overall thoughts, and then we'll jump into the next guy.
So I really like the player a lot, but you have to know what you're getting here. I think overall, this is someone who, again, beautiful frame. This is exactly how you draw it up for an offensive guard or an interior lineman with that length, that size, the hands. He will move people forward in the run game. Very good grip strength and wears on opposing linemen over the course of a game. I could see early second round. I think that's how I would have him graded, kind of a top of the second round player here. But if you're if you're sort of a gap scheme and you're looking for that sort of power up the middle, that's what he does best. He's not going to be for everyone, but what he does do well, he does incredibly well. Has a lot of experience in college. I think 5 years in college, as you mentioned here. You know what you're going to get with Pregnon, a physical sort of tone setting interior lineman. That's pretty coveted by a lot of teams here. It's just he's got some scheme limitations because of some of his limitations with lateral agility.
I'm going to have fun debating that with you later. I think he's a little better than you think he is. And
of course
in today's NFL, I think teams covet this kind of a player. All right, who do we have next?
We got your boy, my boy, Vega Ioane from
Vega or Vega?
Vega. I believe it's Vega. It's kind of like how it's Tagovailoa, not Tagovailoa.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was gonna just give a shot at pronouncing his whole name and see if you could laugh at me. Ola Vivenga, Ioane. How close was that?
You did the first name better than the last name. It's Ioane.
Ioane. Okay, Ioane. Guard at Penn State. All right, 6'4", 320 pounds. 32 3/4 inch arms, 10.5-inch hands. He's a redshirt junior, played 40 games at Penn State. This past year, 614 snaps, an 80.0 PFF grade, 0 sacks allowed, and 4 hurries. Ray, I hear a lot of chatter about this guy. I heard somebody this week talk about him potentially being a top 8 pick in this draft. I'm hearing Quentin Nelson kind of level of comparison on a guy like this. Let's review the tape, and then I'll give you my thoughts. All right, so 71 there, left of the center. You could go ahead and hit play. You see he's got a guy outside him. He gets to step up into the linebacker. And I just don't love the effort on this play. Oh, we're back on Pregnon. All right, here we go. So he's moving outside of the defensive interior to get to the next level, right? 53 engages the guy on 71. 71 steps up to the linebacker. And again, I just don't love this kind of an effort. Kind of arm tackles the guy, swings him around a little bit. To me, you just want to see a lot more, kind of to your point on Pregnon as well. Just like if you have an opportunity one-on-one against a linebacker, we really expect you to be more physical than this. All right, let's let it play some more. Go to play number 2. And here we go again. He is on the left side of your screen. Head up. Somebody's in his one, in the one tech. Inside of him, go ahead and hit play. He just gets set, gets his feet in the ground. And this is not going to be a guy that you can bull rush. I think his legs and his lower body are fantastic. He's got a great frame on him. And again, when you lock in, when he gets hands on you, it's basically over. I don't see a lot of defensive interior players getting any type of pass rush on this guy. This is a trend that I saw over and over again, just really great hands in pass protection when he's lined up against more of a power rusher. All right, we can go to play 3 now after this runs through. And here he is again, somebody right outside of him, right in between kind of the gap between the guard and tackle. Go ahead and hit play. Number 1 is lined up on him. And we're going to see him kind of set that edge. And I like it, right? Again, it's kind of that teamwork. We're stepping up. I'm getting to my spot. You get to yours. We're going to kind of double this guy and try to get to the next level again. And that hole really opens up. 28, the safety here, does a great job coming down and filling this and kind of corrupting the play. I think if the other side of the line did a better job, this is a really nice gain. I think they opened that up really well. And it really starts with Ioane.
Nice job on the last name.
Yeah, dude, it took me a second. I took a breath. I said it. It felt good. All right, we got play number 4 here, I think. Okay, so here we go again. Nobody really head up on him. There's a guy inside over the center, and linebacker comes in, and we're a little confused. We don't really know what our responsibility is, and we start trying to grab at cloth, but we don't really do a good job of that. We put a hand on the guy's back. We don't look at the angle of our feet, right? We're completely open. We've opened up the gate. Somebody faster than you is going to beat you in that situation, and that's exactly what happens. And it really does cause a rush throw for Drew Allar. I want to see a lot more from a guy that's being talked about as a top 8 pick in the NFL draft. Has to be. And we're going to see that, I think, again on this next play. So here again, nobody really head up on him besides a linebacker. Linebacker immediately goes to take a step inside. Now we're looking at the edge kind of coming in here, the defensive end. And he's a little bit quicker than me, and he has a little bit of a nice angle, and I kind of open up the gates. My quarterback does get a little bit too deep, I think, and he's able to take an angle that kind of defeats me. Again, if I'm looking at a guard to be a top 10 pick, top 8 pick, I really want to see more against speed than something like this. To me, this is rough effort there. And it's because 42 just doesn't let the hands get settled. And that's what we know needs to happen for this guy to be truly successful. I think overall, just to give my overall thoughts now, I think that was the last play.
Oh, you got one more. You cheated.
I got one more. Actually. I cheated. Of course I did. All right, so one more. We have, again, kind of like a defensive tackle lined up between the guard and tackle gap. Let's go ahead and hit play. Oh, okay, yeah, I wanted to end on a high note, get you back to what happens when we settle our hands, when we have our base under us, and we have more of that big-bodied guy coming at us, and it's a wrap, right? Ioane just totally destroys him here. Literally no ground gained at all, which is amazing, right? That's exactly what you want. Now I'm going to give my overall thoughts. All right, so again, this is basically the perfect body for what you want in a guard. Guy has fantastic lower half strength, can really drive, can really finish plays with his size and his effort and his strength. But I really saw over and over again that the footwork fails against speed. And as a guard in today's NFL, you're asked to be on the move a lot. You're asked to take on blitzing linebackers and edge rushers. And the NFL has gotten faster. Year over year, it's just getting faster and faster and faster. You look at Sonny Styles this year. What happens to Ioane when a guy like that is blitzing him? I worry a bit. I don't think this is a prospect at the level of a Quentin Nelson. I look at this more of like a Trey Smith kind of a guy. Still a really high upside, going to get a payday, a second contract, a third contract kind of a guy, but isn't perfect, right? It has the perfect frame, but just isn't a perfect prospect yet. He's going to take a little bit of time to develop. Again, just a redshirt junior. He's not an older guy. He's coming out when he should. He's somebody I really like, and I also think I have no problem taking this guy as like maybe a top 20 pick.
All right. Fair enough. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it.
Okay. I thought you were like, oh, I'm too hard on him. You're too hard on him.
You are, but we'll talk about it.
Next up, we have Keylan Rutledge from Georgia Tech. Ray, senior, 22 years old. He's 6'4", 330 pounds. Played in 48 games between Middle Tennessee State and Georgia Tech. Had a 76.7 PFF grade this past season on 872 snaps. Allowed 0 sacks and only 4 hurries. I'm excited to kind of hear about this guy, Ray. I don't know much about him, so let me get the 101.
All right, so right guard for Georgia Tech. These numbers are really hard to see, so just bear in mind right guard here. This is a Brent Key offensive lineman, and we're just going to get right into it. So again, right guard and second level block just destroys the backer here, and this is what he does, but let's take another step back here and just watch some of the subtleties and nuance here. So great tandem block right here with the right tackle, but look at the eyes. He's already seeing his next target, knows where he has to go, plays with his eyes up. He's using his hands here and his arms rather to still extend and keep the tackle off of his body so he can get to the backer at the second level. He's not just kind of knocking him with the shoulder or an elbow and then trying to kind of catapult himself over to the side to pick up the second level defender. He's using his hands to keep himself clean, see right here, and then going ahead and delivering the punishing blow here at the second level. So again, tone setting block here, eyes up, knockback finish. Just absolutely love it. It's not just the power. It's not just the movement on the double team before taking out the second level defender. It's that just nuance and sort of the subtleties there to keep his head up and go ahead and see what he's hitting at the next level, which can help spring a lot of big runs here. So tough, physical, powerful, smart right off the bat. Again, right guard here on the right side of your screen, and we're just going to let it run some more, and you're going to like what you see. Again, we're going to take the second level defender, and we're just going to get him all the way to the sideline here and just basically drive him out of the club here. So if you're wondering where he is, he's this guy here, just taking the defender all the way to the sideline. But again, even before sort of the highlight finish, again, he's not just knocking his shoulder into the tackle here, who kind of, the offensive tackle here, is just kind of left out to dry. This is just bad. This is just bad posture. So he's going to go ahead again, kind of extend the arm there to push him back to the outside into his tackle, and then go to the second level and make contact with the defender here, and then just go ahead and drive him way out of the play. And again, set a tone. Oh, you threw me at 3 seconds after the whistle. Whoop-de-doo for you. I moved you, 10 yards or basically across the field there. So again, setting the tone in the running game here. Now in pass pro here, right guard again. So we have the 3-tech outside shoulder, and this is going to happen sometimes. He gets beat quickly at times in his short set in pass protection here. So it's going to throw that outside. You see a good swipe by the defensive tackle here to swipe down that outside hand. And when he does, he doesn't necessarily have the foot speed and foot quickness to kind of mirror and still kind of stay in front of that defender. He's just left reaching now with that inside hand, which is way out of position here. And he's going to give up the quick pressure, forcing the quarterback to roll out and eventually force the throwaway there. So again, doesn't have that next level sort of athleticism to mirror in pass protection here and can lose early. Now we're going to go ahead and, again, right guard, some more pass protection here, and this is using his smarts. Again, I love the pass off here. Does a great job seeing the inside rush from the defender here, and he begins sort of the domino effect by just basically passing him off into the pile and noticing the twist coming here. not a great base, and he doesn't have, again, that elite foot quickness to really mirror and stay directly in front of the twisting defender here, but does a great job recovering because he saw what was happening here and is still able to provide a pretty clean pocket, at least from his side, for the quarterback here, even though it ends in a sack. Not his fault at all. Does a really good job on the pass off. So really smart in pass protection, even if he doesn't have sort of that next level agility and athleticism in that part of his game. And so we're just going to finish this up with a quick short pull here. And I like it. Again, it's not devastating, right? But good mobility here to get through sort of the alley here and just kind of lead the back and let the back read off of you. So if this backer is going to duck under your block to the inside, the running back is just going to read it into this alleyway right here to the outside. But that all starts with him being sort of, being able to navigate the traffic cleanly enough on that short pull to allow for this to happen. Now, the arm tackle from 95 kind of slows back there. But again, he provides a nice alleyway for his running back on this short pull here. So again, I mentioned right at the start of this, Keylan Rutledge is a Brent Key offensive lineman. You probably, without even watching the tape, just figure out what that means. Just a tough, smart, physical, aggressive lineman. Works great in tandem blocks. Very good engagement at the second level. Lateral ability is just okay. It's not great, but it's not terrible either. It's just enough to kind of keep him from being scheme limited or scheme dependent. So, outside of potential early losses in pass protection, this is a really good lineman that you could just plug in there. I think he's going to be a pretty good starter in the league for a while here. I got maybe a late 2, early 3 on him. I think this is a day 2 prospect who's going to make a team very happy, who needs a guard on the interior line there, which there's not a lot of in the NFL. We talk about it. There's not a lot of great guard play here. I don't think he's going to be a great sort of, perennial all-pro or anything, but this is a player you want on your team and you're not going to have to worry about once you draft him.
I like it, man. We're building up a decent group, it looks like, for the interior of the offensive line. And I'm actually pretty excited about the next guy, too, when we get there. So Chase Bisontis from Texas A&M, believe is the next one up here. So he's 21 years old. He's a junior, played guard again, 6'5", 315 pounds, 36 games played in his career, 795 snaps and 62.5 PFF grade this past season, allowed 1 sack and 8 hurries. So 36 games played is significantly less than some of the other guys we've talked about today. So I think that's why you're seeing a slightly lower PFF grade. And I'm just going to call it out before we go into it. I did more than 5 plays, Ray, but the reason is because there's a few plays that show the exact same thing in unison. So we can kind of run through okay, so I might just say run play 2 and 3, just let them keep going. And I'll just talk through it. So that's what we're going to do. So play 1 here, you could go ahead and hit play, and play 2 is going to be just about the same. So there he is. He's got somebody lined up outside of him. And again, this is somebody, when you put somebody on him that's more of like a strength rusher, a power rusher, not necessarily a speed guy, it's over. You could go ahead and run the next play too. It's going to show the exact same thing. If you line somebody up over his head that uses power and strength, it's just not going to be effective. It's just really not. Then the third play here, I'm going to show you when we get there. Third play here, okay, somebody outside, he's on the on a pull, and he just completely whiffs, right? So a common thread that I'm seeing with these offensive interiors today is in space and against speed, there's a bit of a struggle for these guys, which makes sense, right? That's why they play guard and not tackle a lot of times, right? They don't necessarily have the best lateral movements. They don't necessarily have the ability to kind of get wide when they need to. And this is a struggle, right? Just completely misses it. He's a step slow to get there. He whiffs on the block. It just was a failed play, and it's something that I saw as a trend. We could go 4, 5, and 6 are all going to be similar plays again. So you could let 4, 5, and 6 all run. And again, it's speed. So kind of gets beat with speed there, but does a nice job at least using his intelligence to put it outside of him and kind of let the guy run away. Same thing here. Doesn't get beat, but just kind of lets the guy move in the way that he was moving. And then same thing here. If the guy's going to go this way, let's just take him. It's a lot of zone blocking. It's when the guy chooses a path, if I can run him out of the way, whatever way he's going, that's what I'm going to do. Let the guys make decisions off of my blocks. So 3 plays in a row, I just wanted to show you I'm intelligent, right? I can just move bodies by letting them kind of overextend themselves, and I'm just going to drive them away from the play. And that's what he does over and over again, which I like. 7 and 8 are going to also be similar, so we could go ahead and do that. And it's about communication here. So 71 sees the block to the inside, hands it off to the center, and then just quickly moves on to number 4, the blitzing linebacker. And again, on this play, that might have been a little too quick for me, Ray, if you want to run that one back. So on the next play, let's pause it for a sec. So we have somebody on the inside. He steps up to that 47, and we see he starts to engage. Go ahead and hit play. And then he's moving to the next guy and gets to the linebacker. And look at that hole right there that he's basically created himself for this running back. It's all there. It's all green grass. I think it ends up being a terrible decision by the running back, kind of running into the one guy that could potentially make a play here. If he kind of goes the other way, I know number 8's kind of coming down on him too, but I see a lot more easy yardage if he just keeps going vertical than trying to go inside there. But again, 71 did everything on this play that could have been asked of him. I see really good communication, really good ability to just kind of use his best qualities to be successful even when he's beat. I see this guy as a strong blocker that can be effective. I don't necessarily think this is a guy that's going to be an above average offensive lineman at the next level, but could I see this guy being a very capable starter for you for, 5 to 10 years? Absolutely. And I think that's what somebody's going to get with Bisontis. See him more as that day 3 guy, 3rd, 4th round pick. I think if you could tell me I have a 5-year, 6-year, 7-year starting guard in round 4, I'm going to be a very happy camper. So I like Bisontis a lot for who he is.
Well, we'll talk about that. All right.
And then who's last? Jake Slaughter? Is that who this is?
Jake Slaughter, our Florida center last.
Florida center, senior, 23 years old. He's 6'5" with 333 pounds on his frame, 32 3/8 inch arms, 10-inch hands, 51 games played. So this is a long-time career starter. 79.3 PFF grade on 748 offensive snaps this last year, allowed 1 sack and 2 hurries, Ray.
Yeah. We're just going to get into it. Veteran guy. I think the first play tells you almost everything to know about Jake Slaughter here. So again, the center for the Florida Gators. We're going to go ahead, let it run, beginning my 5 minutes here, and moves pretty well. But then what's that? Be stronger at the point of contact here. You have good movement and then bad contact at the point of attack here. I mean, this should be a kill shot, but if not, at least go ahead and position yourself to, again, just kind of seal off the defender here and allow your running back a bit more space to operate with here. Just misses. He does a great job getting out there. He moves really well. You can kind of see the speed and quickness there for a center, and then just kind of whiffs. So I don't like that. I need better at the point of contact here. So we're going to go ahead, run the next play here. Center 66, and just not great movement on the tandem block. I mean, that takes a really long time to eventually get to number 5 here in advance, but this is a tandem block where you're just stalemating. I need more than that. I need some more. I need you to drive off of this here. I know you're a center and you're not typically a power player here, but on a tandem like this, I need a bit more power and drive behind the blocks here. So just, again, kind of seeing a bit of a trend here on contact, but we're going to go ahead, play 3 at center, and really smart. This is what I like to see. And you're going to notice, again, some of the nuances in veteran player at center. So he has a motion here from 5 to the inside, and he's going to, again, set. And once he notices, okay, look at the feet, he's now sort of squaring up to go ahead and twist to the outside here. This is not a rushing posture. He's not going to rush down the middle of me or anything here at this posture here. He's changing direction. So now I immediately know I got to go ahead to the inside where he's going, who's replacing him. I've got this inside rush from the number 90 here. So I'm going to go ahead, pick him up, and allow my guard to pick up number 5. Really good job passing him off here. So not playing with a lot of power here, but playing with a lot of smarts. My notes went away, so we're just going to go ahead and run it here at center and just talk through it live. We'll do it live. Okay, yeah. So I like the movement here. You're going to notice he gets a little bit of help, and this is pretty much all he needs. So right here, 75, just enough to kind of knock the one tech back inside. And what Slaughter does a really good job of is keeping his hands inside that frame and positioning his body here. So he's not knocking anyone back, but he's got good grip strength here and keeps the hands to the inside and doesn't allow the tackle here to really get off of him and get back inside the play until the running back is well past him here. I think it's a really nice job of riding out the tackle here, keeping those hands inside. So you can't, you're not at risk for any holding calls or anything like that. I think it's a really great job of, again, just kind of using the momentum of the play and getting it done that way, even if you're not the most powerful player in the world. So we're going to go ahead again. No notes here. So, okay, we're going to make sure there's nobody coming from the right strong side here. I'm going to pick up the rusher, and then this is where we get into some trouble here. I need better here. Remember, die a slow death is one of the mantras if you're not a power player here. This is just a straight bull rush down the middle, and he gives up ground way too quickly, and it disrupts the entire play here. Being a center is not an excuse for not having a strong anchor and being able to, again, protect your quarterback here, especially quickly in instances like this. Whether it's a hop technique or something, I need you to die a slower death here. You can't just be pushed straight back into the lap of your quarterback. That's just not going to end well for anybody. And it ends up in a sack here. So the lack of power yet again on display for Jake Slaughter. I really want to like this player. I like Jake Slaughter. I think coaches like Jake Slaughter. But there's a possibility that the lack of anchor and the lack of power is enough to prevent him from being a consistent starter for someone in this league. I see this player as someone that you like all the intangibles, but does he have that fatal flaw? Or is this a case where if he is a starter for someone in the league, it's really just because there's just not a lot of good centers in the league, period. And by default, he's one of the top 32 guys here. But if so, he seems like he's going to be that guy that you're always kind of looking to replace if he's in your starting lineup, because I don't see power issues going away when you take the step up in competition from college football to the NFL.
That's a perfect way to transition, Ray, because I definitely have some thoughts on this guy. But let's welcome in audio-only listeners. If you weren't here for it, go to YouTube, check out the film review we just did of some of the top interior of the offensive line prospects. And now we are going to have discussions about each one, maybe do a little bit of a ranking. And I think a great way to start is the guy that we just finished on, which is Jake Slaughter out of Florida. He was a 23-year-old senior, played over 50 games at Florida. Ray, you kind of mentioned it. This guy has some kind of technique issues, kind of some strength issues as well against more powerful rushers. I see it, man. I'll tell you what, I see it. I've been underwhelmed in recent years with Florida linemen coming out as well. So I wonder if this is kind of a program thing. To me, Jake Slaughter seems like a guy that if you could get late in the draft, 6th or 7th round, and you have an established offensive line and he can be a plug-in guy that, is experienced enough to kind of make the system continue to run, I think that's great. But if you are putting him on an offensive line, like say the Dolphins, right, that need a lot of work, I don't think this is a guy that's going to see a lot of success. I think he's going to be overwhelmed with the physicality at the next level and the speed at the next level. I don't know if you feel very confident with him being an everyday starter, which is contrary to a lot of what I've been hearing, which is that NFL teams really like this guy.
Yeah, because this is the part of the year where you're not playing games. And so when you're interviewing and you're meeting with coaches and you're shaking your hand, you're sitting down in the film room, Slaughter aces all of that. That coaches fall in love with that stuff. But then you put on the tape and he has good tape, but then someone lines up at 0 right over, right head up on him. And then can he handle the bull rush? It's a consistent problem on tape, and you can't be driven into your quarterback's lap from the center spot. So, everyone gets excited about the guys that are great in the chalkboard and the film room and the interviews and all that. Coaches are going to love him, but eventually you're going to try to replace this guy because he's got a fatal flaw, and unless that seriously turns around in the NFL. Because maybe the Florida strength staff is just incredibly deficient, and that's part of the issues that they've had in recent years. Who knows? But outside of that, unless that turns around, he's going to have a fatal flaw in the NFL, and that's the power and lack of anchor.
Sure. And again, I think there is a place in the NFL for a guy like this. I do think there are going to be teams that value this kind of a player and where he will work very well. I think of the group that we reviewed today, he'd be my fifth. And I suspect that when we do our full ranking, he's going to be a little bit even lower than that for me on interior offensive linemen. Are you aligned on that?
Yep. He's my fifth, and he'll probably be lower than that. Yep.
Okay. Who do you have of this group as your fourth?
I had Bisontis, and I like Bisontis. I like his mentality, but I think just the next level, just where's the plus? Where's the plus? He's a smart player. He executes his assignment. He's pretty, he can communicate well. He's okay in pass pro. He sits pretty well against some power in pass protection and such, but I don't see the next level trait. I just don't see it. And I don't know if it's a lack of length or what. I mean, he's a young player, only 3 years in college. That's a part of it. But by now, even so, that would start to show. I think he's fine. I think the NFL needs guards, and he'll be fine. But I'm not sure he'll be more than fine.
Yeah. And I think what I had said when I reviewed him is like, this is probably a third or maybe early fourth round guy. But like that's a pretty good class, in my opinion, because I think that all of these guys are pretty talented, and this is a good group of interior offensive linemen. I do see him as a starter in the NFL. Like I do think wherever he goes, maybe not the Cowboys, but like every other team can probably use a guy like this, right? Like a starting interior offensive lineman that you could plug in and feel very confident that he's going to be good, right? Like at least average in the NFL. I don't think he's you start him and the bottom falls out, right? Like that's just not the guy this is. I also don't see him being a top 5-10 interior offensive lineman in the NFL. So you're not getting that either, which is why I see him more of that as that third round kind of guy. He stands his ground well. He keeps stronger against he gets even stronger against power rushers, struggles more against speed, but his intellect allows him to kind of stay within that athletic limit that he has. I wouldn't say he's a pile-on kind of guy, but I would like to see him be even more physically aggressive at the next level. Again, just an average starter, maybe even as a rotational spot in the beginning. I think he'll be very successful as that kind of a guy, which tells me that you have, I'm thinking, your Georgia Tech boy as number 3 on this list. Do I have that right?
Yeah, please don't tell me our rankings are exactly the same. I bet they're not. I bet you're going to throw a curveball late.
Well, no, I would have Bisontis above Rutledge, but I think those two guys are very close.
I don't think they're close. I love Rutledge. Oh, wow. I love me some Rutledge.
Okay.
And again, I could be blinded. I think Rutledge is a lot more experienced, but I mean, just again, the quick summary: tough, physical, smart, always looking for work and keeps his eyes up, looking for the next thing. Great working tandem blocks and engaging at the second level. Adequate lateral agility in the run game is enough to keep him from being scheme limited or dependent. Hand placement can be hit or miss, especially in the pass game. Doesn't have the best hips to recover from early losses in pass pro, and just average anchor and strength against power rushes. But he wins with smarts before the snap and good positioning. Tone setter, culture guy, will be a starter in the league. I love when you can keep your eyes up, and when my biggest problem with some of these, not just even the interior guys, but the tackles that we reviewed too, seeing what you hit, especially on the move. I think listen to me. Keylan Rutledge, and they're both from Georgia colleges. Keylan Rutledge does a really great job of that, and that just to me shows comfort. Like you're comfortable in that you're already, you can handle what's going on in front of you. The game is slow enough for you where you can kind of look and see and calibrate your next steps here. That to me bodes really well. And that tells me there's a pretty low bust factor with this guy at the very least. And if I'm not investing a premium pick at a non-premium position, so if this is a third round guy that I'm selecting here, that's what I'm looking for. I don't want to miss on my third round guard. And I think there's a very low chance of this guy missing. So yeah. I would have Rutledge above Bisontis here.
I think they're super close. And I think a lot of what you said, I see similarities in what we're saying, right? These are guys that are going to be instant starters for you, maybe aren't top 5 guys in the NFL, but are really good, really, really solid, play really intelligent football, can do everything pretty well. I think Rutledge, maybe my knock on him playing, half of his career at Middle Tennessee State before going to Georgia Tech. I just worry that maybe the experience level is going to take a little bit more time to transition than Bisontis will, right? Like, I think that is something that kind of goes into play here a little bit. But not to say that he isn't going to be great once he kind of gets his feet on the ground and really develops.
All right. Fair enough. I like the disagreement, and Bisontis is younger, so he might have some more upside there because of the lack of experience and such. I fully acknowledge that, and he's from the Northeast, he's from New Jersey, so I think he's a pretty tough guy.
I think also there's a couple guys that we didn't review today that I think, again, when we go through our rankings, like there may be even guys that I say like maybe in between these guys or above or right below. So I think that list could continue to grow. I do think it's really close between 1 and 2.
Oh my God.
I think it's really, really, really close. Why don't you go ahead and talk about who you have at number 2, which I think we could all guess.
I have Emmanuel Pregnon at number 2.
Oh, you do? Oh, I'm shocked, dude. I'm shocked. You blew me away.
I mean, he's really straightforward. I mean, he looks really good. I mean, if you were just drawing it up, like create a player in Madden, that's exactly what it looks like. He's got like Tyler Booker, like physical build and frame and traits, and that's fantastic. But he's a phone booth guard. He will move you forward or move you backward. He will move forward while you move backward. That's about it. But everything else kind of seems a tick late. He's just a tick late in pass protection, just a tick late kind of getting out wide on those zone blocks. And because of that, he's more of a push and drive type of blocker than a strike and finish because he's not in great position to strike at that point. And you've been in college for what, 5 years already? You've been 3 different schools. You're 23 years old already. Tyler Booker was 21. You're older than Tyler Booker. He's got a year under his belt already of blocking Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis and guys like that twice a year. If you've been in college that long, you can't be late on this sort of stuff. That just tells me you are what you are. And I don't see that part getting better in the NFL. So I think he kind of limits you scheme wise. And that's a problem. Because coaching changes happen very often in the NFL. And if you're sort of rolling over what you do on offense every 3 or 4 years on average, is he going to fit with the next guy? Because he's limited in what he can do, and that could be a problem. So I like him. I like what he does well. He does really well, and he looks great. He's my type of guy, but I can't. But he's limited, so I can't have him in contention for my top guard.
So who is your top guard for the people that weren't in here for the video segment?
Junker from Iowa. No, it's not. It's Vega Ioane from Penn State. Oliva Vega Ioane.
Oliva Vega. So pretty.
Yeah,
I'm gonna name my daughter that next time.
Next time, okay. So he's that same type. Everything I just said about Pregnon is applicable to Vega Ioane, except I think his power translates better as an anchor in pass protection more than it does for Pregnon. And some of the limitations laterally and agility wise are just a bit less for Ioane than they are for Pregnon. He's also a younger player with a bit less experience, didn't bounce around over 5 years at 3 different schools. So there's a bit more there, right? But just pure, just natural physical progression as he gets older. That's there. That might not be there with Pregnon. So I think the strengths are similar, but they translate better with Ioane. And the weaknesses are there, but not to such a high degree with Ioane, in that he can get by on some of the mobility stuff. For example, I know it didn't make our film review here, but everyone's kind of seen those clips. We talked about how interior linemen in this class in general, we've seen a lot of them struggle on some of those pulls and kind of seeing what they hit and driving. Vega Ioane has been viral multiple times for absolutely destroying people on those cleans where he lines up out wide, like in the slot, comes in motion, and then cracks someone across the formation there. This guy sees what he hits and he drives through contact. He's got that mobility where you can't do that with a Pregnon. You can't do that because he doesn't have that same agility, and he, kind of compensates. And then as such, he's not kind of seeing what he's hitting. That's not a problem with Ioane. So I think some of the mobility limitations that you have with other prospects, or Pregnon in particular, or other power prospects, are not to that same degree with Ioane. And because of that, he's not as scheme dependent. He's not as scheme limited. You can do more with him while still enjoying those same plus traits in the strength department and the anchor department that you do with those other guys. So for me, he's the clear number one.
Okay, so I was teasing you a lot, but I do think he is the number one. Having a 3-year age difference is pretty massive. Again, when they're that close, right? When they're that close in what we see in film, I'm going to take the guy that's 3 years younger, right? Even if Pregnon to me might be a little bit better today, 3 years of age difference makes a huge difference. But a few things that I see on film that I want to talk about, right? So Pregnon again played at Oregon. Oregon this year was fantastic, made it very far. But we look at his past, right? Started out at Wyoming, then went to USC, then went to Oregon. And it's almost as if USC said, I see something really great in this player, and we think we're in a winning window, right? They kind of were. They bring this guy in, and then Oregon does the exact same thing. Says, we are in a great window. Let's go get one of the best offensive linemen we can get, and they go do that, right? So this guy has been part of 2 great winning programs. Wyoming is a good program too, but like winning programs. 24 years old, played a lot of football. I think he's going to step into the NFL and be really good. Like I think year 1 and 2, he's going to look like the clear winner in this battle between these 2 guys. But then you go on Ioane, and watching his film is like every other person from Penn State I saw this year, where there's so many good plays where I'm like, this guy could be elite, right? But then every 3 plays, I see something where I'm like, this is an absolute mess. This is a nightmare. What are you doing, right? So I want to ask you, Ray, why is it that a guard prospect that a lot of people are saying it's a top 10 lock pick, best thing we've seen since Quentin Nelson, why am I seeing so much bad on his tape? And again, is this just he was at Penn State this year and Penn State was a mess?
Yeah, Penn State was a mess, pretty much. That is the short of it. Is that it just, as the kids say, Penn State just crashed out. Like, there's a reason they were preseason number 2 and they ended up 7-6, and their coach was fired before Halloween. It was a disaster, and things in the building were not. They did not handle the expectations well. And by they, I mean starting from James Franklin on down, and that's why he's at Virginia Tech now. Everything was just a mess. The right side of the line was a bit of a revolving door due to injuries and just due to a planned rotation that just didn't really work out well at all. And the center was a pretty relatively weak spot as well, just in general going into the year. So I don't think Ioane had much help around him. Like Drew Shelton was fine to the outside, but pretty much everything to his right was just kind of a rotational just mess. So yeah, that was pervasive. I do think later on in the year, as things stabilized a little bit under interim head coach Terry Smith, you saw a bit more consistent play from the offensive line in particular, including Ioane, because they really went back to their roots of just, we're going to run the football. We have Katron Allen, we have Nick Singleton, we have a pretty veteran offensive line, and we don't have our starting quarterback to start the year. So we're going to go ahead and run the football and just get back to the basics. We're going to stop doing this misdirection nonsense from Andy Kotelnicki and all these trick plays. They really cut that down, and you saw more consistency from Ioane later on in the year and from the line as a whole. So I do think that was a part of it, is just kind of the mess organizationally from the top down than anything else. Because, I mean, you just turn on, even if you go back to 24 and you look late in the year when they're just kind of going on their playoff run, you didn't see the mess. And these guys were less experienced than they were obviously in 2025. The organization was just in a better place in 24 than it was in 25. And I think that's what's reflected sometimes in those inconsistencies.
Okay. I mean, I think it's valid, right? I saw it with every Penn State player I watched this year. So I don't think it's make-believe. Like, there's something there. I like him. And again, I think both of these guys, when you look at them, it's exactly what you want in a guard. They have all of the characteristics, right? Big body, 6'4", 320-ish pounds. They have that thick lower half, which is what you want. And they really use that base to drive themselves and to handle themselves. But they have great arm usage as well. So both of these guys, I think, in my opinion, should be first-round picks. Should they both be top 10, 15 picks? No. Maybe Ioane goes top 20 and Pregnon just goes towards the end of the first round. That's what I think. the NFL today, Ray, we've talked about it, right? Like these guards and centers are getting freaking paid, man. I think teams are starting to realize how important it is to have a difference maker on the inside, especially for young quarterbacks, right? So could I see a team like the Raiders, if they end up, willing to trade Max Crosby, they get back into the first round, that they would be a team that wants to pick up a guy like this, right? Like just to kind of get it together, make sure that offensive line is exactly what it needs to be for their rookie quarterback to be successful. To me, that's a great way to do it. I want to just reiterate for the people, again, that joined in late. So our rankings, Ray and I kind of had similar rankings. So Vega, Ioane is both of our number one from Penn State, the guard. Emmanuel Pregnon from Oregon is both of our number two. Then I had Chase Bisontis from Texas A&M at 3, while Ray had Keylan Rutledge as his number 3. So you could just swap those between 3 and 4 for the two of us. And then both of us had Jake Slaughter as our number 5, the center from Florida. Ray, pretty good episode. I unfortunately do have to run. Any last thoughts before we do?
There's some more out there. There's Junker from Iowa and such. So there's some more players out there. So we'll see how the final rankings shake out. But I think overall it's a pretty good class. Just even at the top, I'm not sure it's elite. I think you would agree with me that someone like Tyler Booker, I think we would have over Vega Ioane, even though Ioane is our number 1 this year. I would have also had Donovan Jackson above Ioane as well, just to give people a sort of a sense of how we view these prospects, or at least I view this prospect. I'll speak for myself. But I think there's some pretty good value here in the first 2 days of the draft on the interior of the offensive line, but center to me is still a concern.
Yeah. And it's going to be. Every year it's going to be. And I think you're going to see these teams have to be creative. The Packers this year, right? Let Jenkins leave, and they're going with a guy, Sean Runyon, who is a career backup, right? Backup interior lineman, and now they're putting him at center. Like, that's what teams are so desperate at center that they have to end up doing. And they also just don't want to spend the money on somebody, right? So I think teams are going to really be reaching for these offensive linemen. But everybody, thank you for tuning in. Please give us a review on Instagram. Please give us a follow on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and X at all22_PFF. And give us a review wherever you watch or listen to your podcasts. Have a great rest of your day.